The heat map, also known as a tree map, is a great chart for looking at a portfolio. What's unique about Advisor's heat map is that it's linked to other charts in a project through an in-memory data pool, so that a selection on other charts will show the balance or skew or concentrations of the portfolio in the heat map. Let's take a look. Here we're looking at a heat map of roughly 1,800 mutual funds. Each box here, for example, this top left one, is the Fidelity Magellan Fund. It's showing a return of 22% over the last 3 years, so it's green, and it's got a sizable net asset position, the biggest one of my portfolio, so it's big. There's a group of them. They cluster into the growth hierarchy category, so this would be all the growth funds. I can see they run from pretty big to a lot of smaller ones. My color scale here is set from green being really good, 43%, to red being really bad, minus 27%. We're using a red-green scale. We could use a pastel scale. We could use a thermal scale. We could use a variety of scales, but here we happen to be using a red-green. And what that's keying me in on is got pretty consistent green performance across my growth category. Contrast that with my mortgage funds over here and my treasuries down here, which are a much hotter color. And when I mouse over them, you can see the little tick in the bottom of the color scale shows that I'm medium at best performance. And I'm also consistently mediocre because I'm not seeing any extremes. The international group, on the other hand, has extremes. It's generally a hotter color, so it's not performing as well as the small caps or the growth. But it's got a fund here that's doing great. The GMO Emerging Country Debt's a 43% positive, bright green, one of my best. On the other hand, I've got one of my worst. This one, this fund is a negative 18% 3-year return. So I've got a lot more variability in the international. So at a glance, the heat map, by the use of size and color and grouping into categories, gives me a lot of information about a portfolio. I can select on it. So let's say I want to just grab the balanced category here. I can sweep over it with the mouse. Now my next page has a couple of other charts that help explain it. It shows me I've selected 349 funds out of my roughly 1,800. And this scatter plot now has colored my balanced funds in blue against everything else in gray. So I actually see on from low to high return is a pretty consistent middle-of-the-road banner. And it's actually pretty low volatility. Do not have high volatility funds in my balanced category. So this has helped me explain a little bit further what's going on here. And the data sheet at the bottom actually lists the funds. And I could grab any one of the funds, for example, this one, and I can see down here what it is. So I've gone from high level, went into a group, looking at a cluster of funds within it. Another thing I can do, suppose I wanted to, on the scatter plot, explore the top left quadrant, which are my dog funds. They're poor performance and high volatility. Go back to the heat map. The heat map now shows in color where those funds are against everything else. Huge concentration of them are up in the international grouping. There's a handful down in capital appreciation, one really bad one, and it looks like there's one over here in the growth category, an outlier. So to summarize, the heat map is great for looking at a portfolio, and it uses size and color to lay out in a way that helps gain understanding about the makeup of the portfolio. And by linking it with other charts and displays, we can quickly explore and see imbalances like this in my portfolio, points of concern, and get to the point where I can take action on it. Because at this point, I could grab this list of dog funds, which I see, right-click and export them out of here to do something with. So now I've taken them out of my memory pool into Advisor on the Excel side, and here I am with this set of funds which I've identified as my dogs. And from the heat map, I clearly see the concentration of where they are.